everyone. Welcome back to the Autocrit Start Strong Challenge. My name is Catherine. I'm a member of the Autocrit editing team, and I am so excited to be here with you guys today as we go through the second optional twist of the challenge and we talk about things to do as you prepare to finish your stories. So, if you are new to the Autocrit Challenge, it is not too late to sign up and it is 100% free to join Start Strong. So here is the link. You can do that at, if you're watching on Twitter or X, you can go ahead and grab this from there. If you're watching on YouTube, the link is in the description box below. So Start Strong is a 1,000 word short story writing challenge where we've assigned you a topic and a couple required things. And then we're leaving some optional twists that get you bonus points from the judges. But you do not have to work in the twists if you do not want the bonus points. So let's go back for those who are brand new, because I see we got a couple people on who are hearing about this for the first time. We're going to go through what we've already established. Then we're going to talk about the new twists and wrap up our stories and talk about the submission process and everything that is coming up in just 3 days. 3 days. So we have asked you guys to write 1,000 words. And this year, while we have not required it to be 1,000 words exactly in the past, this year that is one of the required twists for the challenge, that your story be exactly 1,000 words as shown in the Autocrit Writer's Desk word counter in the top right corner. Not Microsoft word counter or Google Docs, but the actual Autocrit one. So those 1,000 words do not need to include your title. We will be showing you on the submission video where the title should go. It should not be in the body of the story itself, and you should also not put your name anywhere on the file. This is an anonymous judging. Your name will be represented to our judging team in the form of numbers. And then once we have picked the winners for the challenge, you will see that as your name on the winner announcement. So this is ultimately a challenge more than a contest. We want you to push yourself, stretch your comfort zone, and that 1,000 words can be any genre you like, but it does have to be a complete story. When we say complete story, we are asking for a story that has an obvious beginning where we don't pick up in the middle of a bigger book. Please don't grab an excerpt from the middle of an existing piece that fits the bill and then change it around. We notice when it's not a proper start. A proper beginning, a clear middle where the character is at either their lowest low or highest high, and a clear ending. No blatant cliffhangers, please. We will not be reading other stories to make sense of your cliffhanger, so this piece needs to be able to stand by itself. If you would like to use it as a series level cliffhanger, the original story's goal and obstacle should be resolved, and then you can leave it open for, series related stuff if you're going to do it for lead magnet or something like that. Please, no first chapters of full-length novels, excerpts from larger pieces. All right, in order to be an eligible finisher for the prizes, you have to use the required theme, the required setting, and a physical object that we have been talking about the last couple weeks, as well as a very specific verb, at least once in the story. There has to be 1,000 words exactly, not 1,001, not 998, 1,000. And you have to submit a blurb that is 100 words or less. This is a new requirement going into 2026 because last year, so many of you wanted to take your short stories and pitch them for publication that we wanted to leave that up to you without technically putting it up on YouTube for the whole world. So while we will read the full story, we will only be sharing the 100 words or less blurbs on YouTube, and those can be under 100 words. They don't have to be exactly 100 words. So the theme we asked you guys to write about this year needed to be chaos and misunderstanding. This has to be a core theme of your story. Your main story goal needs to tie into this somehow. 75% or more of your book needs to take place, your story needs to take place in a community center. And we realized last week that there was a little confusion. A community center is a community building that is open to the community, usually for free or cheap, that offers classes and recreation and a place for the community to gather. You are welcome to use community centers within smaller communities. So, for example, someone asked if they could use a senior center. As long as you mean a senior community center where the seniors would get together, maybe play some games, hang out, have book club, do quilting, whatever they do together in that community, that's fine. It is not talking about rehabilitation centers or retirement homes, though. This needs to be a community center where people come together to connect. And the object that you have to have needs to be a physical bottle cap. We don't care if it's plastic or metal. We understand that bottles have both now. Plastic or metal will work, but it does have to be the kind of bottle cap you see on your screen right now. And it has to be physically present. It can't be used symbolically. You can't say this was just like finding a bottle cap in a, insert larger idiom. There has to be a physical bottle cap somewhere. So those are the required elements of the piece, along with using the verb vex at least one time. Not the noun version vex. It's very vexing, the adjective. We want the verb version of vex. The optional bonus twist we gave you guys last week was that the bottle cap had to be sentient. And again, optional meaning you don't have to use it, but we will give bonus points to people who do. So the bottle cap is sentient. That means that it is an individual of its own with its own ability to think. It needs to have clear wants, goals, and fears of its own in order to qualify here. There's been lots of creative twists that we've received questions about over the past week. Yes, the bottle cap can be a character. Yes, the bottle cap can turn into something else later on as long as it starts out as a physical bottle cap. There's so many creative things, and we're excited to see where you go with it. But there does still have to be a bottle cap physically present at some point. And if you're going to use the optional twist, it has to also be sentient. So Jasmine Fox, it can't be a rehabilitation center unless it's a community center inside of a rehabilitation facility, which would work. It needs to be a place where everybody there could reasonably have a reason to come and be part of the community. Let's see. How do we submit the blurb? The blurb will be put underneath your story. So write 100 words or 1,000 words. Make sure your story is exactly 1,000 words. And then underneath that, you can put your blurb and just put my blurb. Those will not count toward your story's word count, but they should all be in the same file. I'll get to yours, Auburn Road 16, in just a minute. Let's do the last twist, and then we have a couple other questions about content that we'll get to. So, the second optional twist. I wish we had a drum roll. Drum roll! The second optional twist, which again is not required, but will get you bonus points if you choose to use it. The story must be told from the point of view of the building. Now, the point of view does not mean the building is sentient necessarily, or that the building is one of your characters per se. There's a lot of ways you can incorporate this. It just means that the narrator telling the story has to be the building. That's what we're doing. So, twist number 2. How are we feeling? And we absolutely believe that you could pull this off. If you have the story 100% done and you're not worried about getting bonus points on it, then I wouldn't worry too much about this one. But it's a challenge. So we're here to challenge ourselves, and we believe you could do this. Let's throw in a little creativity to our POV, give it an actual face to the person telling your story, and see what you could do with it. Give it a try. All right. Let me share our content guidelines because that might answer your question. All genres are welcome in this challenge. It can be a true story. Telling it from the building's POV might be an interesting way to get perspective on something in your life that happened in a community center, if this is a memoir. It could be fantasy, horror, sci-fi, young adult, romance. We don't care what the genre is. Bring it on. All writers and all genres are welcome. Because this is a YouTube-based challenge, we do have to adhere to YouTube's content guidelines, though, which means that while our team writes very spicy, explicit content and very explicit graphic horror content, we cannot read content like that on YouTube. So please do not put that in your story for this specific challenge. We have lots of other challenges where you don't submit, where we don't read anything about the stories on YouTube, that you are more than welcome to bring that content to. But for this one, the YouTube guidelines in a nutshell: no graphic acts of violence, no use of abuse of any kind on the page, and no on the page intimate content involving minor children who are under the age of 18, even if it's consensual. If your stories violate YouTube's content guidelines, we won't be able to consider them for the finalist round, no matter how much we personally like them, because obviously we don't want our stuff taken down, right? Just like you guys. So let's be mindful of that. From a technical requirement, please put the title of the book in the top left corner of the page. I will be showing you guys this in a submission instruction video that will post on the 23rd here on YouTube. Put your piece in 12-point standard font. Calibri, Arial, Times New Roman, please no wingdings, just standard font. It needs to be written in English and it needs to be single spaced. You can use any style guide you want: US, UK, Canada, Africa, Australia, it doesn't matter. We have seen them all. So as long as you use consistent style guide usage throughout the piece, you're fine. Don't start out with single apostrophe quotes and then switch to double American style quotes halfway through. It needs to be thoroughly edited. Please do the due diligence of treating this as though you're submitting it to a contest or a publisher. Go through it and make sure that you've checked your spelling, your grammar. Maybe do a quick line or copy edit on it. If you have AutoCrit and you have those tools available, go ahead and run it through the short story setting. And please don't include your name in your file. We never like having easy reasons to throw stories out. If your name is in the file, we won't be able to judge it. So do not put your name anywhere in the file. If we open the file and we see that there's multiple editing errors on every page, inconsistent capitalizations or typos or grammatical errors, then it's not going to be eligible because that editing phase was probably missed or incomplete before it was submitted. Important dates. Today is our bonus twist number 2. Submissions open January 23rd in the morning at 11:59 a.m. Eastern U.S. time. And there will be a video that goes up walking you through how to submit using AutoCrit. I will show you where to put the blurb in that video. I will show you which boxes to check. And the AutoCrit support team will be standing by via the help bubble in the bottom right corner of the AutoCrit website. You have access to everything you need to submit for free because you signed up for this challenge. So as long as you have officially registered for the challenge, you should be able to log into your AutoCrit account and submit. If you have not registered for the challenge yet, here you go. You can register here. The window closes at 11:59 p.m. on January 25th. So you have a little over 2 full days, 2.5 days to finish it up and submit it in. We cannot accept late submissions. So once the deadline passes on the 25th, please don't email the support team your story or ask if it can be slipped in late through community, because it has a firm stop and the times are the same for everybody, Eastern time. So make sure you keep track of that. And please don't wait till the last minute, because you never know when your internet peters out. I did a contest not through AutoCrit last year where we had a massive tornado roll through the day the story was due, and I had waited until like a couple hours before, and I had the hotspot up on my phone, and I'm just like desperately trying to submit it. And I submitted it with seconds to spare, and I was so stressed. You don't need to do that to yourself. Try to have it done and wrapped up and submitted in the morning on the 25th, and then you can breathe the time that 25th in the evening comes out. And please note that we have a 100% human support team. So if you have trouble submitting, we are happy to help. You could just hit that help bubble in the bottom right corner of the AutoCrit site. You just have to ask. And please ask well in advance, so that way we can get you the answers you need instead of waiting till the very last minute, if at all possible. All right. We will be announcing the winners to the challenge on January 27th here on YouTube at 1 p.m. Eastern. So mark your calendars for that. All right, let's go through your questions, and then we're going to talk about finishing challenges, crossing the finish line, and all that good stuff. Can you submit an update? You cannot submit an update. So the version you submit is the only version you're going to be allowed to send through. You can only submit one time. What I would suggest you do is write version 1, and then if you're going to try to add in twist 2, write version 2, and the version you like better, that's the version that you send through in the end. If you're not sure if you registered for the challenge, you can email support@autocrit.com or chat in with us. If you got an email this morning reminding you that there was this twist today, you are registered for the challenge, because that email went out to challenge participants who were registered. If you registered after 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern this morning, then you will not have received an email. So go ahead and check that. And we'll be coming back to YouTube again with those instructions and everything too. Can it be a specific meeting for a specific group held in the community center? Yes, it can. Does the entire story have to be narrated by the community center, or can a character narrate part of it, like when they go to and come back from there? The entire story has to be narrated from the building's point of view if you're going for challenge option number 2 for that twist. What about your name in the metadata? So your name is whatever name you registered for the challenge with. If you would like to change that to a pin name or something, you can ask the support team for steps on how to change your name. We do this every day, helping people with their different AutoCrit questions. So please message us. We will tell you how to change your public-facing name. That is the name that you will want updated, because that's the name that will be announced if you're chosen on YouTube on the 27th. And again, on our end, the name will be represented with numbers, so we won't know who we're judging until after we've picked the winners, and then those numbers will be referred back. Yep, no wingdings. Yours has unalived bodies in it, and you're not describing in detail. Yes, that's fine. Clarification on building POV. Direct speech of other characters is still allowed, or will just walls be witnessing what's going on? You could still have character speech. You just can't be inside of a character's head, because you're not going to be first person or restricted, meaning you're not handcuffed to one specific person. The building is omniscient. Yeah, we got lots of fun, I think, with this one. The bonus points are going to be weighted in your favor if we know you've used the twist. So from a judging scale, if your blurb shows that you used both the community center POV and the bottle cap being sentient in a creative way, it is going to tip you as having checked all the boxes. So if your story came down to somebody else's against somebody else's who was also good but didn't use the bonuses, it would tip to the person who used the bonuses. Thank you for the twist comments, you guys. We're excited about the twist. What if your community center is a hollow tree? That's perfectly fine. It just needs to be from the hollow tree's point of view. And now I want to go read about ents. Does the blurb have to be posted above or below the story? Is it okay to separate it with a seam break symbol? A seam break symbol is fine, and you are welcome to put it, I prefer below the story. You could technically put it either place, but just make sure that you have made doubly sure of your story's word count, because we will be removing the blurb to see that that word count is 1,000 words in the autocrit counter. So if you write the story first and you get it to 1,000 words and you put the blurb underneath it, then you know for a fact it was 1,000 words. If you put the blurb on top and you're trying to remember to take that away from the total word count, you could potentially slip up. So just watch out for that. All right. I love this. The two twists are going to conflict with your other story. Challenges. Any advice? I would keep the one that has the most impact on the storytelling style to you. Creativity wise. That's a decision that only you can make as the writer. All right. Are we all good? We all good? Okay. And you do retain full rights to all of your content. We will not be reading your stories out loud because you have full rights to your content. We want you to be able to take it and query it or self-publish it or use it as a lead magnet or expand on it in Novel 90 that's starting February 1st and turn it into a full-length novel, whatever you would like to do with it. And Auburn, I think I mentioned this earlier, but maybe it was missed. Yes, a cause of unalivement would be fine as long as it's not graphically described. Murder mystery feel is perfect. So the max amount of words for this doc is 1,100. Correct. 1,000 for the story and 100 for the blurb. Yep. Exactly. And the blurb does not have to be exactly 100. It can be less, but your story has to be 1,000 on the nose. The blurb will be what we are scoring primarily. So your blurb should simplify who we're reading about, who's your main character, what are they trying to achieve, what is the main story goal, what is the main story obstacle, and add in 1 or 2 sentences. 100 words is a full back book cover, so that's usually 3 or 4 short paragraphs. Add in a couple sentences explaining how you've worked in these elements. If it's not in the blurb, we're not going to be able to share it on YouTube, and therefore nobody will know it's there in order to judge. So we have to have it in the blurb to judge it. Let's talk about finishing stories. So we are here so close to the end, and we've talked this whole challenge about knowing yourself, knowing your limits, making creative decisions, being present for your piece. And what I love about writing challenges is that unlike a contest where you're writing for others, a challenge you are writing for yourself. You're trying to push yourself into the awkward, uncomfortable side of challenges so that you can become a better writer. Usually it's something you're weak at. So as you get close to the finish line, my encouragement to you is to embrace the aspects of your writing that you are weak at so that you can give it the attention it needs and the polish that it needs. I mentioned the contest I did last year. When I did that short story contest, I did it because as an epic fantasy writer, writing short is hard for me. Having to write for that specific contest a set number of words, exactly similarly to what we're doing, was a challenge, not one word over, not one word underneath. And it helps you become more succinct. It helps you become better at crafting blurbs for readers. It makes you more mindful and more purposeful about your word choices. And those are all areas that I needed to grow in the last year. And I hope that as we start this new year, that you guys are embracing these challenges that the AutoCrit team has put together, from Becca and Kat and the rest of the team and I, that it pushes you to really strengthen something. So before we hit the end, read over your book and go, okay, I do the characters really well, or I do the dialogue really well, or I do action really well, and focus in on those areas where you don't, so that you can give yourself a chance to explore what you could do in a safe space where nobody else is going to be reading it and looking over your shoulders, right? It's not going to be published here on YouTube, the whole story. You have freedom to grow in a safe space here. So hopefully we can see you reach those ending lines by embracing what you need to work on and strengthening those things. And hopefully the twists will push you to that effect. We are going to be opening for pro members in the pro member forums an optional place to post your short stories from the Start Strong Challenge. Those will open on the 25th after everything has closed. So midnight on the 25th, you can go post your story there. We don't want any crossover where anybody can grab somebody else's story, right? So you won't be able to post in the forums until the submissions close at midnight on the 25th. But head on over to the forums and share your stories. The judges will not be looking in that thread. So please do not ask judging questions there or try to submit your story to the judging team late through that thread, because we don't want to know who wrote what while we are picking winners. If you have technical questions, go to that help bubble in the bottom right corner instead. So just recapping one last time, because I see we have some new faces that have popped up here. Your deadline is the 25th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. I'm going to put that in chat for us. Submissions open at 11:59 a.m. Eastern time on the 23rd. And submissions close at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time on the 25th. Winners will be announced here at 1 p.m. on the 27th. The bottle cap can be more decorative than the usual modern or plastic, as long as it's an actual screw-on cap. All right, you guys, let's finish this out. We're starting the year strong. Let's finish up this challenge strong. I am so excited to see what you come up with, and so is Becca and Kat and the rest of our team. So go blow us away. We can't wait to read it. Here's the link again to sign up. And if you are on YouTube, it's in the description box. Sign up for free. Throw together a 1,000 word short story. Challenge yourself. Give it your best shot. And we will see you guys in a week. Bye, everyone. Take care. Good luck.